This one aspect of Dynasty is the most important thing for college football 26. If this aspect of the game is worse than the current year, we are in trouble, man. We're in a lot of trouble. I don't think so. I do think the game is going to be significantly better. I'm hoping at least, man. We'll see when the game actually drops. If y'all do enjoy the content, like, comment, subscribe. Go over to my Twitch. My live streaming series is on the screen, man. We're Auburn. We're trying to outdo Nick Saban. We're going to be live tonight over on Twitch. Tap in. Now, with that being said, man, if college football 26 don't get anything right in Dynasty, they have to get this one aspect, man. It's going to be recruiting, man. But before we even get to that, like I said, the most important thing I think is going to be recruiting, but over top of that is going to be gameplay, man. Gameplay for college football 25, in my opinion, pretty good. Issues for sure. Issues for sure. Blocking, major issue, man, major issue. But gameplay was the one thing all throughout the year that was pretty good, man. That's one of my fears, that the gameplay might take a step back. If it does, we're in trouble. But other than that, recruiting has to be done correctly, man. Recruiting in this current system is solid. It was cool the first 2 months, the first month or so. Recruiting was pretty cool, a little bit challenging at first, but now it's just cakewalk, man. We're Auburn here. Like I said, this is my live streaming series. We have 13 5-stars and 15 4-stars, man. Recruiting is a piece of cake at this point, but we know they're changing recruiting to an extent. We don't know if it's going to be massively different. We don't know if NIL will be in the game. Y'all let me know. Do y'all think NIL will be in the game? If I'm being honest, I would say no. I don't think we'll see true NIL. Maybe we'll see some type of version that's super watered down, but I don't think we'll really see NIL in the game because there's just no good way to do it, man. NIL is forever changing, and some people don't even want it in the game. Some people view it as a negative. 100%, I get that, but the reality of it plays such a major part of college football in real life. It needs to be in the game, especially if this is supposed to be a simulation of real life. Recruiting is supposed to be somewhat realistic. You got to have NIL in the game at some point, some way, somehow. I don't think we'll see it, though, because we haven't heard a word about it. The deep dives will probably come in a week or two, and we'll really get to dive into it. But one of my biggest issues with recruiting this year, man, has to be, I'll go over everything, but has to be the sway option. I mentioned this in a live stream when I was live the other night, man. Has anyone successfully swayed a player, where they actually put the sway option on and the result was actually positive? They won the sway. They was able to sway the player. They put that new hard sell on, and then they got that commit. Was it ever a situation in your Dynasty experience where you swayed a guy and you was like, damn, that sway was helpful? That was why I wanted recruitment. Me personally, no. And my chat, same exact thing. All of them said no. Sway is absolutely useless. And y'all let me know if y'all have successfully swayed a person, but I don't think so. And the fact that it was in the game all year and not at all being changed, they buffed it a little bit, but was it really buffed? Couldn't tell the difference. So I think sway option completely removed. Hard sales, soft sales, I imagine that will all look different, man. These influences, social media, DM the player, contact family, friends in the house. I imagine all of this will look slightly different. I think they're going to stay with the motivations here. You probably add some, take some out, man, because some is probably not needed. Brand exposure, take that out and figure out how to add true NIL, because brand exposure, at this point, just have it NIL. I think they probably take some of this stuff. Playing style, definitely take that out, man. At least tweak it to where it doesn't change week by week. That's super frustrating. So I think they'll definitely change it. The way I envision these dynamic deal breakers is, you have a guy who cares about, let's say he cares about staying close to home. When he first comes out, he might be a 3-star, 4-star, and you get him to come to your program. He's from Alabama, so we get him to come to Auburn, and in the current version of the game, College Football 25, that guy would never transfer out because he only care about staying close to home, and obviously we can't move locations, so he would never transfer out. Even if he was a 5-star, 4-star, and he's 5th on the depth chart, he would never leave. Dynamic deal breakers, I believe, also now they'll start to care about playing time. As they get higher in overall or maybe become a junior, senior, now playing time will also become one of their deal breakers. Also with staying close to home. So now they might transfer out because they're not getting playing time. Or maybe they also develop the ability to care about coach prestige. Maybe they want a great coach and they also care about pro potential. Maybe they'll get the 5 deal breakers. That's a super simple way to pretty much implement it. And that's something we suggested throughout the year, man, that just add more motivations, or instead of it just being 3, have it be 5, have it be 6 that these players actually care about instead of just being 1 deal breaker, because that just didn't really make sense. You got players that's why the portal is nowhere near as jumping. But getting recruiting right is super major because, in my opinion, I think it's the most important aspect of Dynasty other than gameplay. Most important aspect, man. When I think about college football, the video game, and Dynasty mode specifically, I think about recruiting and building up a program. Building up a program through recruiting. So, that's why the recruiting coach tree was super popular all year. And honestly, one of the better coach trees, that and probably Tactician is probably my favorite when it comes to actually being the best coach builds in the game or best coach trees in the game. So if you're EA, you also got to figure out the visit situation, man. And some people loved visits in this game, man. So I brought in this recruiting class right here, and I believe I didn't schedule any visits. If I did, I might have scheduled 1 or 2 for the 5 stars. But all throughout the year, I tried my best to avoid visits. In real life, visits encouraged. You want as many players to come to your school as possible. In this video game, I feel like visits, you don't want many people coming to your school to visit, man. In real life, you could have 15 prospects on a visit. In the game, you can only have 4. Big difference here. Also, you got to get the complimentary visits to really get the bonus. If you're doing like a complimentary visit for the bye week and you got like all offensive players come in, you get like 4. That's a phenomenal visit. But my issue is when you play a top team and you're a top team and you lose, it pretty much ends the recruitment. You're pretty much out on that guy. You're not going to get him. But if you do win that game against a top tier opponent, you get a major boost, as we know, a major boost for those visits. But my issue is, in that situation, like, it don't incentivize you to schedule visits against big time schools. But in real life, prospects, you want to schedule every visit against the biggest school you play, because even if you do lose, it's always oh yeah, we lost to one of the best teams in the nation. But in the video game, you don't have that luxury. The visit is still negative, and you're pretty much cooked for that recruitment when you lose to schools that's better than you. And say you lose to a school worse than you, the recruitment over, cooked. Forget about it, man. So I think just visits, in my opinion, it's too much potential for it to be negative in this game. In real life, visits are a lot more positive than negative. Even if you lose the game, you still have very good visits because you're meeting with the coaches, your parents are seeing the program. It's a lot that goes into the visit other than just the result of the game. And that's all these visits are based off in this current game, man. The result of the game in real life is so much more than just the game. In real life, when a kid go on a visit, some of y'all probably already know, but they get there usually on Thursday or Friday, and they don't leave until Sunday. They're usually there the whole weekend, man. So they have something planned Friday night, whether it's dinner with the coach, they come to the game, all that, see the atmosphere, and then on Sunday they usually have like another dinner, whatever. It's more than just the video, just the actual game, man. So have visits just be a little bit more impactful, and if you lose, it just shouldn't be all negative. I think we also got to clean up the amount of 5 stars and 4 stars being under recruited. It's nasty. It don't make sense. Matter of fact, man, it don't make sense. In real life, if you're a 4-star, 5-star player, you are getting scholarship offers, man. Even if it's not from the program you want, you are getting scholarship offers. That just is what it is, man. In the video game, sometimes they'll be halfway through their senior year. They could be a gym, 4-star gym, top 50 player in the nation, no scholarship offers. You see it all the time. Halfway through their senior year. It don't happen in real life. You do have under-recruited guys. I get that. You do have guys that blossom late. I think the best way to solve this is have dynamic star ratings, man. You have a guy who start the year as a 5-star. He's a bust. He end the year as a 3-star. Simple. He's a bust. Maybe he end the year as a 4-star. Maybe you have a 4-star player. He's a gem already ranked, let's say top 100. Maybe he end the year as a 5-star. Have dynamic rating changes for these prospects. Because we do see players, actually get better their senior year. And then their senior year, by the end of it, they'll shoot up a draft board. I shouldn't say draft board, a recruiting board. And now they're ranked as a 4-star. Now they're ranked as a 5-star. Or, maybe they go from unranked to ranked. And you see that happen all the time. You know, rankings for these high school guys change all year. And in the video game, we just get one ranking at the start of the year. You get the 32 5-stars, and that's the 32 5-stars the whole year. In real life, it changes not month to month, but every couple months they do change the rankings. So I think that's something super simple to implement in the game, man. I think it's even in at Madden. You got guys that's, you know, projected to be a first-round draft pick to start the year, you know, when you first load into a Madden franchise, but it'll change all season because they're going through college football, they're going through their year, and then as they have a good year, you know, they might go up, go down, whatever, and at the end of the year, the draft board will look very different than what it starts. So you already have the concept in Madden, just bring it over to college football 26. Do we see that in the game? I would say no. I think it's a great idea, man. That's why I need EA. Invite me down, man. Invite me down, man. I got some ideas. I got some cookers. One day though. But even guys like this, man, like how. So we're at the end of recruiting day. We're at National Signing Day, and you got 3 stars that never found a home. I don't want to say it's unrealistic, but it's unrealistic, man. A lot of these 3-star, it's just so many 3-star players in real life. I get it. But the amount of 3-star quarterbacks that never found a home here is actually nuts, man. Nuts. You got, you know, you'll just have a lot of 3-stars that never find a home in the video game. Running backs also, you tell me, you know, one of these lower schools don't want a 3-star running back. And some of these guys will be gems. It's not like, oh, it's all bust. Some of these guys will be very good players, man. So overall, I just think recruiting was a little bit too easy. And, you know, obviously you got to make it so any casual or anyone that don't want to come on YouTube and look at the best recruiting method, you got to make it so those guys still able to have fun with the game. I get that. Just put a slider, put a setting on it. You know, Heisman difficulty for recruiting, that's going to be your toughest. That's going to be for your guys like me and maybe even you that's watching this video. That's a simple way to do it. I don't think we'll see that in the game because we don't have anything like that in Madden or any of the previous years. That's something 2K has in their game. Don't think we'll see it, but could be a super useful option. We talked a little bit about the transfer portal, but gotta be improved, and it will be, man. EA already announced that the transfer portal will be a lot more unpredictable, which is an interesting way to say it because unpredictability is a trait in this game. And, you know, a personality trait. At this point, we should all know how to check them. But let's see if we can find one. Let's go to a random player, a center here, and come over here to stats. And you could look at these guys' personality trait. His trait is going to be intense, but sometimes they'll have an unpredictable personality trait. So what that makes me think, if they do have the unpredictable trait, maybe that means they're more likely to randomly jump in the portal, you know, or maybe an intense personality trait means the team got to be good, and if the team's good, he's going to want to stay, and he just want to be a leader on the team. He's an intense personality, whatever, you know, however you want to think about it. But with no question, the portal got to be improved because in real life, it's such an important point of college football. And I thought about this, man. Maybe the portal in this game is not all that bad because, you know, over time, the portal do get worse. You know, the first year you might have a 5-star enter, the second year you might have another 5-star, but after that you get just worse and worse players in the portal every year. But also don't help, as you're rebuilding the team, your team is getting better and better. So worse players in the portal, your team getting better, so that, you know, kind of leads to the portal feeling, you know, unbalanced or useless at times. But when you're early in the program, if you're able to, your first year rebuilding the team, you bring in a transfer quarterback that's a 3-star, he might be a starter. But by year 4, when you bring in that same transfer quarterback, he's third on the bench, you know. So it just feels a little bit different, you know, when you get better, when your team gets better. But no, the transfer portal definitely needs improvement. Stuff like the fact that players don't develop when you bring them in, and the fact that it was never fixed is nuts. That's actually insane, man. That's actually insane when you think about it. EA had to want that in the game. They had to want that in the game for the fact that when you bring in a transfer in this video game, they don't go through training results like every other player. EA meant to have that in the game because they never fixed it and they had to know about it. We talked about it so many times. So it should be little stuff like that that we'll see an improvement, man. Team school prestige, I'm interested to see if this will return, how they'll implement it. I don't hate it. I don't really hate it. I think some stuff was a little frustrating. Like pro potential shouldn't be year to year for me. Like pro potential maybe should be your last 3 years, your last 4 years, but it felt like this was literally year to year that changed. So stuff like that didn't love. Coach stability really didn't make no sense. I won a national champion, or excuse me, I made the playoffs. Made the playoffs for the first time with Auburn here, man. And coach stability dropped to like a C. It made no sense. How we made the playoffs. We had our best year yet, and our coach stability dropped. So some stuff like that don't really make sense, man. Sim stats, all that. They don't really have nothing to do with recruiting. But some of that other stuff really didn't make sense as well. How do we get to the point where we have an athletic director game mode? And maybe I'll be super blown away and super shocked that the athletic director is coming to the game. What that is in my head, the way I envision it, you ever play Madden franchise where you have the option to be the owner or you have the option to be the head coach? They also got the option to be, I think, the coordinators as well. Well, I'm thinking in college football, the athletic director is, the person that pretty much run athletics. That's the boss of the head coach. So have an option where we could be the athletic director, man. And just like in just like in Madden, we could maybe set the prices for some stuff. We have more control of the budget. We could spend money, whether it's upgrading the stadium, doing this, that, and the third, whatever. Pitting more. The more we win, the more money we get, and we could bring in more players with NIL. Stuff like that would be super, super cool. I'll be super surprised if we see it, though. Don't think we'll see it this next year. Maybe 1 year. Maybe 1 year we will see some sort of athletic director in the game. I think that'll be amazing, but we'll get there. Also, need to see more generational recruits. And I get it. It's supposed to be generational, come around once a generation. I totally get that, man. It's a video game. It's a video game, man. Generational recruits is fun. It's fun. And having 1, 2 in each recruiting class don't hurt nothing. It does not hurt a darn thing because there's so many players in each class. The odds of you getting one is so rare. So just add more, more generational guys, more guys coming in as a 90 overall as a freshman. That might sound nuts, but think about Jeremiah Smith. Think about Ryan Williams. Literally one of the best receivers in college football freshman year, day one since they step on campus. And we really don't get that in college football 25. You do get some generational guys, some 6'6" receivers that might come in 80 overall. You do get an athlete middle linebacker, that might come in 84, 85. 85 probably the highest I've seen. Let me know the highest overall y'all seen in this game as a freshman. Without the boost, without tactician. No tactician, I probably seen 84, 85, somewhere in that ballpark from a middle linebacker. And that's good. But like I said, I want a guy like Jeremiah Smith come in day one, he's a 90, 90 overall, and you don't got to move his position, nothing. Because sometimes to get them overall jumps, you got to move their position, especially with a quarterback. You bring in a 5-star athlete gym quarterback, sometimes they'll move over to running back, and they'll jump up like 5 overall to 85, and you see stuff like that. But like I said, I just want to see some super generational guys in this next year. I think that brings some excitement. Other than that, the last thing I'll kind of touch on is going to be attribute-wise when you're scouting. Everyone won't agree with this, but I feel like we get too much information from scouting. I honestly do, man. Or at least, like, for example, we know let's look at another guy, man. Let's look at you. We know he's a dog. We just know day one, man. He's a 5-star gym, but then you also get his ratings. 90 speed. You get the 85 tackling with 79 zone. It's a run-stopping athlete middle linebacker. He's a run stopper with 79 zone coming in. I mean, phenomenal player. We already know everything about him, and we just scouted him. We even know his abilities, both mental and physical abilities. We know pretty much everything we need to know about these recruits. And I feel like that's too much information, or at least if we're going to get this much information, maybe you have to have a specific coach build that unlocks, expert recruiter or something like that, where you can actually see their attributes, stuff like this. I think we should just get grades, honestly. B minus, C. I think we should just get grades, or, just an A. If it's stuff high, he just get an A. Because this is just way too much information. We get to know he's a gym, plus all his attributes and all his abilities, and then, at the end of the year, then you get the development trait. I'm fine with that, but too much information, it makes recruiting a little bit too easy, and you know exactly what you're getting, and you could just go after nothing but the best players in the nation, like we did in this class, man. We went after nothing but just gems for 4 stars, and, just nothing but great players. You know, if we're going to get the gym icon that tells us, you know, they have the potential to be very good, okay, that's fine. But don't also give us all the actual ratings that matter the most for that player. Just too much info for me, man. Too much info. Also, it makes like national rank means nothing in this game. It really don't. My guy Max Plays did a test. National rank literally means nothing for high school guys. So transfer portal means everything, but high school guys means nothing. And something about that don't feel right to me. But other than that, man, that's all I got for y'all boys. Y'all let me know, what's the most important aspect of college football 26 for EA to get right, man? Like I said, I'm going to say recruiting. Obviously, I think gameplay got to be number one for everyone. Gameplay got to be the most important thing. I'm going to say next is recruiting. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts, man. Maybe some of y'all think Road to Glory. Maybe some of y'all think stats or, you know, sim stats. I know a lot of people passionate about that. Maybe some people think the coach carousel. And I understand that. Coach Carousel is in a bad spot sometimes, man. But appreciate y'all boys for watching. We're live tonight. We're live on July 7th for the subathon. So make sure y'all tap into the Twitch. Other than that, we're on to the next one. Appreciate y'all boys.